YouTube. Hey there, LinkedIn. Thank you so much. You have stumbled in to Kari's Corner yet again. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you're here, that you've tuned in. And even better news, folks, we have made it. We have made it through January. I didn't think it was possible. It was touch and go there for a little while, everybody. January is just the longest month for those of you who have made it through the holidays, and then you start that New Year's resolution and you're going strong and you just feel like January is the longest month ever. In the United States, a common trend right now in the US, I don't know if this is happening all over the world or not. You can let me know in the chat. But a common trend in the United States for those of us old enough to partake is dry January. So if you hear anyone talking about dry January, that doesn't mean that they're not showering for a month. What that means is they are abstaining or avoiding or not consuming alcohol for the entire month of January. So some people do that just kind of as a goal, as a cleanse to reset the body. Some people carry it on, they carry throughout, but it's really taken trend, I think, in social media with all those kinds of things. So dry January, if you're partaking in dry January, you made it. You made it. If you are new to the corner, if you're new to my corner, please, or if you're not new and you're here every week, please make sure you drop in the comments who you are, where you're watching from. Have those questions ready because I have a really super special guest today, and I'm super excited about that. But as you all know, I'm very busy, and that means we have a lot of housekeeping things to get through. We really don't have a lot. Tracy didn't have a lot for me today. But yay, we made it to February. This is your 14-day notice that Valentine's Day is coming up. So if you have a sweetie, if you have a special someone in your life, you have 14 days to do something nice for them, to get something nice for them. And gentlemen, I am here to tell you, if you've been married more than 5 years, your presence is no longer considered the treat. Okay? We love you. We appreciate you. Get us some chocolate. But in all sincerity, in all seriousness, February 14th is it's a big holiday here in the United States. People go all out for it. My kids in elementary school level, they hand out Valentines to their classmates, and it's a cool thing. Valentine's Day is a fun thing. Some people in the U.S. call it National Singles Awareness Day, meaning, hello, it's a friendly reminder that I am still not married or attached. So I remember those days. I remember them. However, on Valentine's Day, worldwide is embracing that loving spirit. We have caught that love and feeling. Fall in love with our webinar on February 14th. And at that webinar, we are going to have some featured healthcare employers. So if you have any questions for those featured healthcare employers, I don't have the list of them. I'm not privy to that information. But I'm sure that it's going to be a great webinar on February 14th. So after you have spent the day with your sweetie, cuddle up with some hot chocolate, tune in for a great webinar. It's going to be fun. Good morning, watching from Guyana. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so happy that you're here. Hello, Alex. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm super pumped that you are here. And what I love about being live is that our special guest today, and when I say our special guest, and you guys know this, when you work in an environment, you just naturally drift towards certain people, right? And you kind of find your person. On Grey's Anatomy, she had her person. It's a TV show. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's about a hospital. You find your person. And today, I am so lucky that I get to have my work person. My work bestie has decided that she is going to be on the show today. And I am so pumped. She was on the show a little bit like when Kari's Corner was just kicking off. And now we have over 3,000 viewers sometimes every week, which is amazing. Keep sharing Kari's Corner. I appreciate you guys. But she is the director of case management at Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions. And hello. It says nursery. Chantria. Hello. Thank you so much. Is it Keisha or Kesha? I don't know which one it is. But hello, happy to see you. Armstrong, thank you so much for tuning in, watching live. I love my live viewers. But so I'm introducing our special guest today. She is the Director of Case Management. And what does case management do? I'm literally seeing her walking through the building right now. She just got off the elevator. She's getting ready to make herself cozy at her desk. Thank you, Nursery from Cambodia. Thank you. But what does case management do? And I know a lot of you, if you're in the hiring process, if you're still trying to find that job, then you are working with one of our recruiters. You're working with a recruiting person, and they're amazing too. I love our recruiting team. Hello in Saudi Arabia. Thank you for watching. Hello. Is it Tony? I don't know, guys. You know I'm really bad with names, but I love it. But what our case management team does is after you accept that job offer, you get turned over to a case manager. And a case manager is the person who is with you from the beginning of your journey all the way to the end. Your case manager is who I often tell you, if you have questions, direct them to your case manager. Now, our case management team is entirely located in the Philippines. Hi, watching from the Philippines. Hello, Ivory. Thank you for tuning in. So our entire case management team is located in the Philippines. And I think this is how you do the little heart thing, right? I think I'm doing it right. We love our case management Philippines team. So we are so thankful for them. But Marlo, who is the director of all of that case management, is located right here in the United States. She has years of experience. Her face and her just beauty does not reflect how many years of experience she has, but she does have years of experience in the case management field. So hello in Cameroon. Tracy, we got to get our map. I don't know if we've ever had anyone from Cameroon. Hi in Cameroon. Hello in Bermuda. Hello in the Philippines. So I'm going to bring on, because I think she's finally settled at her desk. I think she's ready to go. In Pakistan, hello. Thank you so much, Nadine, for tuning in. Marlo's getting a few things situated on her desk. I can see her hand. There she is. She's waving at me now. So I think she's ready to go. I'm going to bring on Marlo. Hello in South Korea. Oh, I love South Korea. I can't wait to go back. There's Marlo.
Good morning, Kari.
Hello, Marlo. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have so many live people right now who are super excited to have the director of case management, the person who is over the biggest part of the immigration show, all the immigration, really. Marlo knows every time I sit down with you, I learn something. And it's usually turns out to be like a big Q&A, let's teach Kari about immigration session, because Marlo knows so much. Not only, I do like to point this out, not only does Marlo know so much because she's worked in it for a few years, but you've immigrated to the U.S. yourself, correct? You immigrated to the U.S. from?
I have, and it took a really long time. So when my nurses come back and are frustrated, excuse me while I get myself technically set up here. Can you hear me okay, Kari?
Yep, we can hear you just fine.
Perfect. So when my nurses are frustrated over retrogression and the visa bulletin and the time it's taking, it took me, I did my own immigration, took me about three and a half years.
Wow. From start to finish, 3.5 years.
Yep.
Wow. That's a long time. We've got people watching from all over the world saying hello to you. Hello from Nigeria. Hello in the United Kingdom.
I love it. I've probably emailed or spoken with any one of you guys, so it's really great to be on your show. It's been a long time. I think the last time was a couple of years ago at Christmas, hey?
I think so. Yeah, it was not this Christmas. It was last Christmas when, we were that's a long, it is. Marlo's immigration was a long time, 3.5 years. So I'm going to kind of get us started with a couple of questions, but you guys who, if you've never seen the show before, if you're new to the show, whatever it is, Nadine, you're already in there. You're already asking those questions because I'm going to need questions from you guys. And they can be questions for me. They can be questions for Marlo. any of those things. So we really want to get these questions rolling and make good use of Marlo's time this morning. Because how
Fingers
often
crossed, I know what to say, Kari. Guys, let's hope I have the answer for you. I'll do my very best for everyone.
we always have Tracy in the background who is like our find the answer pro. So if Marlo or I can't answer the question, Tracy usually does a pretty good job of finding those answers for us. We do have Nadine did have a quick question about the MET test. The MET, look at that. See, so many different tests, so many different questions. MET, how to start on MET exam preparation. Well, what you're going to want to do, Nadine, is you're going to want to email me, and Tracy will put that information in the chat. Nadine, if you are one of our nurses who is currently signed up with us, then I can definitely provide you some free preparation material for the MET. Great test, great choice. And then I know a lot of you guys are going to have questions about, I have applied, but I haven't heard back. And that's our recruiting department, 100%. But if you want to email me and let me know that you've applied, I am happy to send that information on and kind of check on your application status with our recruiting department. So again, you are welcome to email me. What you got? Marlo's got her hand up. Marlo's got a question.
Yeah, I just had a question. I wanted to know how often the MET is taken.
It's becoming more and more accepted because it is being proctored or being offered by the same testing company that makes IELTS available to everyone. It's like proxy something is the name of the testing company that distributes these tests to these testing centers. So MET is now signed a contract with them. So they go basically now wherever IELTS is going to be offered, the MET will be offered, which is really cool. It is coming to the Philippines, I know, because I told them flat out, I said, if you're going to start anywhere, start in the Philippines. Hello in Lebanon and Kuwait. Ooh, that's again crazy. I need a map.
My goodness, that's amazing.
Isn't it crazy? I told Tracy we're gonna get a map, and as I hit my stuff, I'm gonna get a map and I'm gonna put pins on it where all my viewers are tuning in from. I'm so excited. So as you were talking about the length of time that it took you 3.5 years, can you go ahead and tell us right now, what is that expected time frame if a nurse signs an offer today and they start the process today? What's that time frame look like?
That's a question we get asked all the time.
Yep, that's why I wanted to start with
it. Everybody within the sound of my voice probably knows the visa bulletin right now for EB3, not for adjustment of status, but for the I-140 EB3 sits at September 1st, 2022. Mm-hmm. And it moved ahead a whole month, I think, from last month's visa bulletin. So what that means in layman's terms is that if you have a priority date that is all the way up to September 1st, 2022, that means your priority date is current. If you have a priority date, and that priority date means when your petition was filed and the USCIS received it, they put a little stamp on that, a date on it, and that is what's known as your priority date. If it's after September of 2022, you're not called what we refer to as being current. So it means you get a bit of a wait until the visa bulletin progresses forward, and then that date becomes current for you, whatever date that might be. So I think it really differs. So if your date is current at the moment, and let's say you're documentarily qualified, which means if you have an awesome case manager and you guys are communicating and they say, hey, congratulations, you're in stage 9B, that means you are in queue for your embassy interview. And I've had this question asked a lot lately, so I just wanted to bring it up. People have asked, well, golly, my priority date's current. I'm already in queue for the embassy interview. I can just go ahead and self-book my appointment. And oftentimes, the embassies don't really move forward with that. And we think, well, hey, my priority date is current. How come I'm not getting an appointment? And how come I can't book my interview? And viewers, trust me, I would love to know the answer to that question as well. But unfortunately, there are a certain number allotted every year. And I think you're just in queue and you're waiting. And when it is your time, they will reach out and set up your appointment. Now, let's say you're well before you're documentarily qualified and your petition's just been filed and you have your priority date. I hate putting timelines on things, but I would say with September of 22, golly.
September of 23, right? Or is it 22?
No, it's 22.
Yeah, it is 22. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't even know what
September.
year it is.
Oh,
I
it's
forgot
okay.
all day, every day this week. I had no clue what day it was.
No, it's okay. It's the only reason I remember it's that because we were just barely in 2023 and we knew that the visa bulletin was just over a year out. So, folks, I really can't put a date on that, but I think the good news is that we're seeing the visa bulletin go in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's progressing forward, and sometimes it'll make a jump of a few months, and then sometimes it will make a jump of just 1 month. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to our attorney of record, and I'm going to have a good conversation with them and see what they feel would be a good time range there, because I really don't want to throw a date out and then cause a little bit of hope for our viewers and then have that maybe not be the case. So that was probably a whole lot of nothing, everybody, but thanks for being patient while I got there.
Yeah, it's so hard to put a date on these things, especially what I try to tell everyone is, we at Worldwide, we are kind of, we may be the car, right? That's going to help you get to where you need to go.
But we're not the driver.
But we're not the driver.
No.
We do not drive this thing. That would be the United States government, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And as much as we do our best to make sure your car is packed appropriately, you have all of your documents, you have everything you need, we have put you in the traffic line. You can't pay a driver more to go around the traffic. So there are people out there that may be telling you, well, I can get you there in less time. I can get you there in less time. Be very careful. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who just want to scam you. So make sure I'm not saying you have to choose Worldwide, but before you start your immigration process, please make sure you do your due diligence and investigate the company who's going to be handling your immigration, because it's a very costly process. And I don't want you guys to be throwing your money away.
No. Can I add something to that for you, Kari?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
I will even go as far as volunteering my whole department that if any of our viewers don't really feel like going with Worldwide and they think that there's another company that's better, I would have you reach out to Worldwide anyway, not because we want to try and sway you to come over to our side, but just have your questions ready to go. We have a very, very experienced team. And so if you think that you want to go with a different company, but you still have a lot of questions, we're okay with that. We just want to educate you, give you the information, the tools that you need so that this whole experience is successful. I'm going to say, Kari, it's probably going to be at the moment at least 2 years from the time you start to the time you probably get your embassy interview, with where the visa bulletin is at right now. And I'd say probably book on at least a couple of years of your time. Yeah. And that's probably about the only time frame I could throw it. I'd love to say 18 months, but when the visa bulletin gets a little further ahead, I could probably say that, but at least a couple of years right now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So switching gears from timelines, right? Because we all love timelines, and I know that's what everybody is just dying to know. Like, how long is this going to take? How long is this going to take? We're going to switch over to, if you haven't applied yet, do you need an active nursing license, an active U.S. nursing license to apply? And how does that help you in the process if you do have an active nursing license?
We got so many answers, and whoever asked that question, we're super lucky because Miss Kari Cooper is extremely knowledgeable about nurse licensure on top of our amazing licensure department that Worldwide has. And I'm just going to put a plug out for the licensure team. We love all of them. Shout out to Veg. We love
Hearts. Yep.
yeah, I can't. I don't think my hand does that.
I don't know. I never know if I'm doing it right. So
there we go.
Our audience members out there can definitely correct me. I'm always like, I feel like this is like money, right? I'm always like money, and then I'm like a heart. Like I don't know what.
So I think the short answer to that is you need home licensure. So wherever it is that you are, if you're in the Philippines, you would need your Philippine home license, or if you're living in the UK, you would need the UK licensure. And you know what, folks? We're just going to. Sorry, I am. Do you want me to take off and go somewhere else? I'm happy to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna go on the flag.
I'm gonna turn the camera off for Marlo as she moves, just so she can gracefully move. Was that Andrew? If it was Andrew or I,
say hi, Andrew.
Everyone say hi, Andrew. You're a horrible human being. Thank you so much for all you do.
He's amazing, and he.
I just turned Marlo off real quick. She's got to move. Andrew is our IT guy. And you know how I was talking about office dynamics, and we have those people that we just connect with and we love and adore. Marlo is definitely my person, but Andrew and I, oh my goodness, we can pick at each other all day. It's like a brother-sister fighting relationship. Super thankful. Andrew runs our IT. So you guys will never meet Andrew. You'll probably never hear from Andrew, but he runs all of our information technology. So he is what allows us, when you submit all those documents, he is part of what allows us to keep that process running smoothly. So we are super appreciative of Andrew and everything that he does. While Marlo's getting reset up, I'm just seeing in the chat, I see a lot of people on here. I have someone who got my review materials watching from Singapore. Fantastic. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I see a lot of people asking questions. Shayra is already a USRN. How do you apply? I think Tracy put the link in the chat already. Health assistance, I know that's a different process. What we're talking about today, and a lot of what we're looking at, is RNs, registered nurses, with degrees in nursing, a degree in nursing. Here's Marlo again. So we'll be talking about mostly nurses who have taken or are preparing to take the NCLEX, right? You have your ATT, which when I first started this job, I was like, what does the AT&T phone company have to do with immigration? But no, it means approval to test for the NCLEX. I'm letting you guys know, I sat here for a year and thought that AT&T was a part of the immigration process. And then I learned for NCLEX, the approval to test. So for those of you who want to apply, we would love for you to apply. Please, please, please. I love that. Malawi, wow. Again, I need a pen for my map. Thank you for tuning in today. So Tracy's put that link in there on how you can apply, where you can submit your resume. I will tell you this. If you are an RN, if you have a nursing, if you are an RN and you already have a U.S. nursing license, especially if you're dialysis, that's going to kind of pump you up in the resume pile right now. Like that just kind of puts you at the top because that's a need that we have. And like I said earlier, I heard Ron Hoppy use this illustration all the time. We may be the car and the government may be driving, but the NCLEX is the engine. Okay, the NCLEX is what's really going to get you here in the United States and the job and all that process. We do have nurse aides, but that is a really long process. I'm telling you, if you have not applied yet and you're a nurse aide, a nursing assistant, do what you need to do to take the NCLEX, get that nursing degree, because it's going to get you here a lot faster than just applying as a nurse aide. That's just the reality of the situation right now. So
and we have a prep course too. So if any of you are wanting to get yourself ready to take the NCLEX, it's so great. We have so many different specialties and departments. So we have a non-NCLEX department that will be there to take care of you. We also have an NCLEX prep course that's really amazing. So all of you folks, if you're not ATT authorization to test yet, then please reach out. We can help you get set up and get some studying going on, and a non-NCLEX team that'll put you in good hands. And then once you pass that test, and let me tell you folks, if my son, who's a nurse, can pass that test, any one of you fine folks can pass that.
Oh, the NCLEX. The NCLEX is, I do get this question. So the NCLEX is the same, like, because you take the NCLEX through a state board of nursing, right? And that's part of where you get your approval to test and all that kind of stuff. So when you're choosing which state, don't think about which state you want to live in, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to live, in Florida, yay, where it's sunny, and Mickey Mouse, yay. Like, no, don't think that you have to take it in Florida because that's where you want to work. There are, we have listed on our website, we have the top states to take the NCLEX because they require the fewest documents, and it's just really easy to get your nursing license. In that state. New York's one of them. Texas is pretty good. Montana is actually pretty easy. Pretty quick too. Montana is not one a lot of people think of.
I love Montana, by the way. It's beautiful. I used to live over by Montana for a million years, and it's gorgeous.
It is. Yeah. If you want to see the cold and nature and beauty, you need to be looking at jobs in Montana. I will tell you that. Sorry,
Kari. Can I just finish with the U.S. licensure question?
Please.
You brought up all these testing, like the states to take your NCLEX through. So do you need a valid U.S. licensure? No, you don't, because a lot of states require you to have a social security card. So oftentimes you can't even get a U.S. licensure until you've arrived in the United States, gotten your social security number, and then applied for your license by examination. So as long as you have a home licensure and you have passed the NCLEX, I would encourage you, though, if you are testing with a state that allows you to apply for license by examination, I would encourage you to probably go ahead and move forward and make that application and get your licensure, because it's a lot easier, I think. And maybe Kari can tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but it's a lot easier to just renew your license, or if you are assigned to a different state, we can endorse that license, than to kind of wait and then do that on the back end later on down the road.
Oh yeah, I'm over here going, say it louder for the people in the back. Go ahead and get your state license. If you haven't taken the NCLEX yet and you're going to sit for the NCLEX, get the state license. Get the license. It's not that much more. It's actually cheaper, definitely, to get your license than it is to take the NCLEX. Please, it just makes the licensure endorsement process so much easier.
It really does.
Especially the NCLEX score transfer process is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. So we're telling you this not to make it easier on ourselves. We're telling you this to make it easier on you. And if you're over there and you want your process to go quicker and you want to get over here and you want to start working ASAP, these are the steps you need to take to make sure that you are here and you're working ASAP. As endorsing a license is way easier. Way easier. And then if you have a valid U.S. license, because there are those of you out there who are like, I have a U.S. license, keep it current. Don't let it expire. Don't get a temporary license. Get a valid U.S. license and keep it current. Do what you have to do. So, and every state's different. Some states you have to renew every 3 years. Some states it's every 5 years. Every state is different. So do your due diligence. Do your research. If you have a U.S. license, make sure it is current, because it really does. It just makes the whole process go so much smoother. So much smoother. This is one of those things that you can control. Like, I know the U.S. government controls a lot of your immigration. You can help to control your licensure. So it's my TED Talk for today on licensure. Yes, Marlo.
TED Talk. Yes, I can totally see you doing a TED Talk. As far as temp license goes, there's really a place in my heart for temporary licensure as well. We have an office in North Carolina, which is where Kari and I are currently sitting at the moment. And North Carolina has an excellent temporary licensure process. And where that really comes in handy is when you're getting right to the end of your process and you've had your interview and they shake your hand and they say, congratulations, expect your visa in the mail in a couple of weeks. It is the state of North Carolina is really straightforward and quite quite easy to. They give you a 6-month temporary license. I'm hoping it's still 6 months. It was last year. That's one thing that Kari will attest to, is that the state boards of nursing update their process and their requirements a lot. So that's another thing our licensure team and Kari does all the time. They constantly are checking the boards of nursing to make sure the requirements and the information we're giving you is up to date. But it's really quick to get your temporary license with the North Carolina. And then you can have that. And for 6 months while you're working, living in North Carolina, and you have that 6-month temporary licensure, then you can be applying for your license by examination during that time. So it's a very seamless process. You're not missing out on work. There's no lapse in being, qualified with your licensure. So that's why I like temp licenses. They're really handy. They help you live and work and pay your bills and apply for your license by examination while you're still able to work as an RN.
Absolutely. Some states offer that. Some states don't offer that. It's a state by state thing. And I love that Donna is out there in the audience echoing. She is in the process of a score transfer. And she's like, it's taking ages to complete the documentation and process. So thank you, Donna. I'm so sorry you're going through that process.
Donna, we're sorry. And I'm sure it was through no fault of your own. So don't
100%.
blame yourself. Yeah.
100%. We have Fatima, who's a NICU nurse, which, you're in there with the little tiny babies.
Yeah.
I appreciate the NICU nurses. I appreciate all of our nurses. Sorry, no favoritism. But the NICU nurses. NICU is one of those nursing careers, and Marlo has a nurse in her family, her son. My sister is a nurse practitioner. And I know the NICU is one of those areas that in the United States, there's not a high demand for NICU, because a lot of people want to work in NICU, because a lot of people are like, I want to take care of the itty bitty babies. It's kind of like veterinarians. Like, I want to love on puppies all day. They want to take care of the itty bitty babies. So I know that there's not a very high demand for the NICU nurse position. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply. That doesn't mean that you should not submit your resume. You've passed the NCLEX. That's awesome. We would love for you to submit your resume. And we may have a position for you in a different department. And eventually, if you're happy at the hospital you're at, you can work your way into the NICU at that department or at that hospital. So it's possible. It is absolutely possible.
It is. I'm going to hop on with a relevant story to that. As a matter of fact, we just had one of our clients who had ICU nurses, and as a matter of fact, they had an opportunity open up specifically for NICU, and it probably affected about 8 of our nurses. And so what will happen, folks, is if you're in the middle of your process and let's say you are in a different specialty altogether, it will happen. I don't see it happen often, but sometimes employers will have an opening come open, and then your case manager will consult with our account management team, and we'll reach out to you and go, hey, just letting you know there's an opportunity. Your employer is hoping that maybe you might want to switch over to the NICU. How do you feel about that? And the nice thing about that is you can say, I think I'm just going to stay in my ICU, or you can go, wow, I'm super excited because NICU is what I was hoping for all this time, and they will switch you over. So every once in a while, different positions than what you've been slotted for do come open. And should that be the case, your case manager will reach out to you as soon as the employer notifies them that that's happening. So it doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes.
And that's why it's also really, really important to keep your resume up to date.
Yeah.
Your case manager is going to ask for your resume every 6 months, I believe.
Yes.
Every 6 months, we're going to ask for an updated resume, just because these things happen. You never know. And we also need to keep track that you are still working bedside. Just because you have an offer and you're coming to the United States, your employer expects you to keep working.
They do. You bring up the best questions, Kari, because we reach out every 6 months, and it can be frustrating for the nurses because they go, golly, I just sent you my resume. But what's happening is that your employer is, they have that set of criteria where each employer has their own specificity around bedside experience. And so they keep tabs on everything. And so every 6 months, we need to be showing them that you guys are working bedside and your requirements and your skills are up to date. And so that is why you get those annoying reminders for your updated CV every 6 months.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fun. It's so much fun. So, we don't have too much longer, so I'm going to get to a couple of like quick questions. Like I know that these are pretty easy to answer questions, Marlo. The first one that I've got, and then again, if you guys have questions in the chat, please make sure you're popping them in the chat. It looks like Ashley Fairbanks is on here. Hey, Ashley.
Ashley, our director of relocation. Hi,
We love
Ashley.
when Ashley pops on. I'm so happy you're here. Yep, Ashley's a director of relocation at Worldwide, and we just love Ashley. She is one of those people that when she steps into a room, she just lights it up. She really does. She is such a happy person. And if anybody is so excited to welcome you to the United States, it is definitely, I think Ashley wishes she could be at all airport arrivals. And she would be like greeting everyone with the biggest smile.
She was born to love everybody.
She really was. She really was. It's a great way to describe Ashley. We have some really great people at Worldwide. I know Marlo said earlier, she was like, we encourage you to apply, even though you may not choose us. You're going to choose us. We have the best people. We just do. We have the best people. And I'm a good judge of character, I think. So how long does it take for our nurses out there? How long does it normally take a case manager to respond to an email inquiry?
Oh, man, that's the burning question. So I'm just going to be straight up with everybody here. Our case managers deal with quite a few nurses. And I think I'll just speak from knowing my team and having this conversation many a time because it's actually a really important one. We talk about it a lot. They can probably get about 100 to 200 emails a day because they have such a big caseload. Now it's a manageable caseload and everybody's doing really great, but sometimes, and I'll use myself as an example because I was a terrible person when I was immigrating. I would reach out email over and over many times a day. And if your case manager has about 200 nurses and they're emailing probably 10 to 15 times a day, and nurses can do math really, really well because they administer medication. So I know that you can already in your mind see the kind of the influx of emails that everybody's getting. We want our response times to be within about 48 to 72 hours. I'm going to say this. If they don't get back to you within 72 hours, I can absolutely promise you that nothing has fallen through a crack with your immigration process. It doesn't mean you will be penalized with anything. It doesn't mean that something bad will happen or something will be missed. I guarantee you that when it comes time for things like reconfirmation letters and those really, really critical time efficient parts of the process, your case manager will be monitoring that stuff really, really closely. But I'd say probably good 72 hours and just continue to email, but don't email too many times because if you email over and over again, if you can imagine, that just kind of makes it longer for them to be able to get back to you because all that does is just push everything down and just add more emails into that. So we're hoping for 3 days, but sometimes it can take longer.
Oh, absolutely. Real quick, someone asked about taking the PTE instead of the IELTS, and I definitely see your question, Ashwani. That depends on the state that you're headed to. So it's very difficult for me to answer, can I take this test questions. It depends on the type of license you're applying for. It depends on what state you are going to. CGFNS does accept it for a visa screen. So I will say that the PTE is completely accepted by CGFNS for a visa screen. You need a 55 overall and no subsection can be lower than a 50. There's a common misconception that your speaking has to be a 55, which I would love to see your speaking be above a 55. But no, PTE just says every section has to be above a 50. Is the PTE okay for license endorsement from New York to Illinois? As soon as I start talking about the PTE, Marlo's talking about emails that case managers get. I get around 150 emails a day. And I would say 75 of those emails are, can I take the PTE? But I can tell you that Illinois for endorsement, yes, does take the PTE. So there's your answer. I'm not even going to try to say your name because I'm just going to butcher it. But I hope you know I'm talking to you. You have a beautiful palm tree in your profile picture. So that's who I'm talking to. You can take the PTE for Illinois. The other thing I ask people to take into consideration when they're waiting on an email response is sometimes our case managers, if your question includes another department, so if it includes our legal team, your case manager has probably already emailed our legal team and they're waiting on a response for the legal team. So you're not just dealing with your case manager's process, or your case manager may have emailed me and they're waiting on me to respond, or they're waiting on any other department, a litany of departments. So depending on the question you asked, don't get frustrated just with your case manager because they haven't responded. I guarantee you, your case manager has reached out and asked your question, and they are going to respond back to you as soon as they can. That team over there in the Philippines, they are like little worker ants. I mean, they are those. You don't hear anything but like keyboards clacking away over there.
And they care about their job. I'm not trying to put a plug in for them, but Kari and I have had the pleasure of, going to the Philippines and working with our teams. And I know each one of them individually, they are the loveliest, most compassionate people, and they care about their nurses a great deal. And when they're not able to provide an answer right away or get on what it is that you need, or when you hurt, they hurt, I'm not just saying that. They are tremendous people. I just care for them such a great deal. And there's a director there as well, or Miss Irma, and Irma is truly amazing.
She's a
And
superhero.
yeah, so there's just so many wonderful, there's amazing leadership there, and the team is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Oh, absolutely. So our final question I'm going to end with the day is in the case management process. I've spoken about this before. Henrietta, thank you so much. So much. Is throughout the process, you get to work with a lot of different people at Worldwide. But within case, you have your recruiter, right? But that's very different from your case manager.
yeah.
Throughout the case management process, do you have the same case manager the whole time, or will you have multiple case managers?
Yay, I love that question. You're going to have more than one case manager, and here's why. Before I tell you why, recruiters are wonderful. They are the lifeblood. They get everything going. I'm just going to encourage nurses that are listening to me, when you are corresponding, communicating, if you wouldn't mind keeping communication to your case manager team, that'd be really helpful, because it's not that your recruiter doesn't love you. They just aren't able to answer your question or move forward to assist you in any way. So I know that we're all tempted, and myself included, to email quite a few different people, like, let's put Ron Hoppy on that, and let's put as many directors as we know. That actually just slows down the answer to your question instead of speeding it up. So you'll get more than one case manager, and here's the reason why. We have many different specialties within our department, and there are different teams within case management. And so those cases transition from case manager to case manager, because at some point in a process, it will fall with this person. And then it transitions to the next part of the process that falls in the specialty bucket of the next case manager. And so that's why that transitions the way that it does. And then oftentimes all case managers will assist one another if there's a lot going on, and they want to make sure that nurses aren't waiting for responses. You'll sometimes get a response from a different case manager within that specialty, just so that they can, assist their teammates and make sure that you nurses get the answer as soon as humanly possible.
Absolutely. And that big switch of case managers happens around stage 7, correct?
It does, yeah. As soon as the NVC pops into place and we get a fee bill, it transitions from one of the teams to the next team. But like I said, oftentimes if you're before that fee bill stage, sometimes you'll have a couple different case managers because they support one another. Let's say somebody is out, we've had some case managers out due to illness, then you have another set of case managers doing supporting them in that role as well and helping them while they're away. So it's another situation where you could get another case manager.
Absolutely. So we're going to take about 5 minutes here, a couple minutes, and answer. We do have a few questions. We have a thank you for the job you're doing. You are more than welcome.
Thank you.
We are happy to do it. We have a question about relocation and a concierge service, such as picking us up from the airport to accommodation. It depends on, that's going to depend on your arrival package, and that is set by our client. That's set by the employer that you will be working with. So those types of services, I love that you are looking at that. But those types of services are discussed once you get to the relocation phase. And all of that information is handled by our amazing relocation department, and it's negotiated with them with our individual clients. They are who set that up. So again, that's worldwide. You know, we help in facilitating all of that change, but all of that stuff is part of what's called your relocation package.
That's where Ashley Fairbanks, our amazing director of relocation, comes in and her team. So.
Exactly. 100%. I did see a question about an MET score acceptance. The required score for the MET is a 55 overall, much like the Pearson PTE. However, the MET does require a 55 in their speaking section, specifically. So 55 overall and a 55 in the speaking section. That's the requirement of CGFNS, and boards of nursing are consistent across the board with those MET scores. That is one thing that boards of nursing are consistent on, is their PTE score acceptance and their MET score acceptance. All of the other score acceptances vary based on boards of nursing, which is my next question, is what is the required score for the IELTS? That's going to depend on which board of nursing you're applying to, but CGFNS requires a 6.5 overall band score with a 7 in the speaking section.
In speaking.
Some states
know that. Yes.
Yep. Some states do require that each module, even if you get a 7.5 overall band score, which is great, and you got a 8 in speaking.
Oh, yeah.
If you got a 5.5 in the reading section, that board of nursing is not going to accept it because they require a 6 in all modules. Yeah. So that's why I say some boards of nursing have different requirements. So it's just safe for me to tell you CGFNS. And then if you have applied with us, or if you have accepted a position, or if you already have IELTS scores, look at those IELTS scores. And when you're interviewing and you're talking to your recruiter, say, I would like to go, and let's say that you are one of those people that you got a 7.5 overall, but you got a 5.5 in reading and you don't want to retake the IELTS. I don't blame you. Then make sure you ask about going to a state that does not have that requirement, that does not have that 6 in all the modules. Okay, so these are all things, great questions to ask when you're going through the recruitment process. This is a question I think, Marlo, you might be able to answer. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to defer to you. Okay. Is it possible to write the NCLEX exam on arrival to the state you're posted to, or do you need to write it before relocating to the state you're going to work in?
So I'm hoping I understand that question. I guess the short answer to that is, in order to get to the point where you can submit a petition as an RN for EB3 I-140, you need to be an NCLEX passer. So you're going to have to go through that whole process we talked about way earlier on in the show, where you become ATT, authorized to test, approved to test. So you'd need to pass the NCLEX, and then
Uh-oh. I don't know if that's me or if that's Marlo. Something may be glitching, that there is no video feed. I'm still seeing people come up in the chat. I think Marlo lost her video feed. Thank you so much, host, because I'm over here like, I don't know what's But yes, what Marlo was saying was basically that how I talked about earlier, the NCLEX is the engine that gets you here, right? The NCLEX is what's going to get you over here. So yes, to answer your question, you do need to take your NCLEX ahead of time. Hello in South Korea. Hey, Sal in South Korea. Would love to go back to South Korea. I had so much fun with my people in South Korea. Do you need to take it here in the Philippines before relocating? Is that a question about the NCLEX? If it's a question about the NCLEX, then I don't know if you guys can hear that beeping on my end. I'm so sorry. It's because the guest video feed has been lost. Marlo has lost her guest video feed and it just keeps beeping at me. I'm so sorry. You can hear the beeping. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Marlo has lost her video feed and I do not know how to turn off that beeping. Maybe I can. It just keeps kind of popping in and off. So this is why we're live, ladies and gentlemen. It's why we're live. So talking about taking the NCLEX before relocating. Yes. And when you sign up to take the NCLEX, you'll get your approval to test. And like I said, that's through a board of nursing. So you'll go through a state. And we do have a list of states that we recommend you go through because it's very easy to get your license in those states, to go ahead after you pass your NCLEX to go ahead and get your nursing license. Because remember what we talked about? Endorsing, way easier than examination, way easier. You have a question about H-1Bs. I can say, I don't know a ton about H-1Bs, but what I can tell you is we did a webinar a couple of weeks ago that answered so many questions about H-1Bs. CJ, I'm looking at CJ on the chat screen. Tracy might be able to put a link in there to that webinar. I don't know if he can or not, but that webinar is going to answer way more questions about an H-1B than I ever could. Hello, Sol. Hello in Pakistan. Thank you so much. Do all H-1B selected candidates enter the U.S. in the 1st of October, or you can enter the state immediately after getting the visa? Yeah, that is a great question. I am not that knowledgeable on H-1Bs. And the reason I'm not as knowledgeable about it is because in order to qualify for an H-1B, like you already have to have a visa screen, which means you have already taken and passed your English exam. So we do, I think maybe one of our healthcare employers that actually offer H-1B. So we don't work with a ton, not a lot of employers are offering H-1B right now. So that's why I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I should probably go watch the webinar too. But in order to qualify for H-1B, you already have to have your visa screen, which means you already have to have your English exam. And that's usually when I get looped into the licensure process, and the visa screen process is in preparation for that English exam. So maybe you and I both are going to sit down and we're going to watch the webinar on H-1B visas, because I'm certainly could do with some education around the H-1B visa. So it looks like we have lost Marlo. She is unfortunately had to relocate to our Andrew, our IT guy. He put her in his office, which is also known as a closet. There's all sorts of technology going around in there. But I do want to say thank you to Marlo, and I want to say thank you to our amazing case managers who are on the other end of answering those emails every single day. We are so appreciative of the work that our case management team does. No department's perfect. No place is perfect. But it is our goal to make your immigration process as smooth as possible. So yeah, the link he posted, Tracy posted a link to the H-1B webinar. So make sure you check that out. And yep, he's posted it again right there at the bottom. Again, Tracy, you are just, you are so on top of it. So yes, thank you for posting that, Tracy. I am trying, there was one more question that came in, and I'm trying to scroll up to see it, but my computer is just not letting, oh, there we go. It is letting me scroll. Do nurses with minimal hospital experience. I saw it, and then it disappeared. Do nurses with minimal hospital experience get hired in the U.S. provided they're NCLEX passers and IELTS as well? It depends on what you mean by minimal hospital experience. If you have at least 1 year of inpatient bedside nursing experience, like Tracy said, and the NCLEX, then we welcome your resume for consideration. We welcome your resume. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for stumbling into my corner. I'm going to let Marlo pop on and say goodbye, because we are ending the show. There's Marlo.
Sorry, we had technical difficulties. All our internet dropped. I apologize. Thanks for cutting up the slack, Kari.
No, you are totally good. You are totally good. But thank you all so much. Thank you, Marlo, for coming on the show today. We sincerely appreciate you. Tom Hanks, again, if you're ever out there watching the show, hey, big fan. But next week, I'm super excited about next week's show because I have no clue what it is off the top of my head. But Tracy always tells me what we're talking about. I feel like we have another guest coming soon. But coming up, we will have Stephanie Tucker, who is part of our client. She's our candidate success team. She's part of the team that helps you be successful upon arrival. We have our non-NCLEX team. So we're going to have some of our amazing Philippine case managers on the show in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited for you guys to meet them. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get Neil to sing for us because he has an amazing voice. So many things to look forward to in Kari's Corner. But thank you for stumbling into our corner today. Oh, there we go, Tracy. How important is the NCLEX to apply? There you go. That's going to be a great show. I have a lot of research to do. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marlo.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We love you and appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Don't face the corner, face the world with Worldwide. Bye, everyone.